Co-founder and CEO of Tootpay. Malvinder Singh, please.
Hi, I'm Malvinder Singh from Tootpay, and Tootpay has a product. It's basically a mobile financial solution, and our target market is the banks and financial institutions, and we help the banks and FIs to enable their mobile channel, very specific. Now, does it make a business sense? It costs a bank virtually $4 to service a customer via a branch channel, and on the other end of the spectrum, it costs a bank something like 8 cents to service the same customer via the mobile channel. So obviously it makes business sense. Now, what are the issues which the banks are facing? First and foremost, there's no universal or one-size-fits-all solution. You have different types of operating systems, you have different devices, and so forth. And to compound matters, there's also the security. And if you look at the trends which is happening lately, as the processor of the smartphone increases, so does the virus and malware attack. Just a couple of months ago, probably about 9 months ago, 250,000 phones in China were hacked at one go. And the guys, they actually let the customers to download certain apps over a period of 6 months. So this is a profound effect. And online mobile banking hardest hit by cyber criminals last year. And Moore's law, as we know, as I just mentioned. Now, the other challenge is, as much as we talk about smartphones, etc., the ground reality is that there's a limited numbers of smartphone penetration. And as much as there's a smartphone, let's drill in detail. For example, in Malaysia, the smartphone penetration is 63%, but only 30% have data services. So they have a smartphone, which is not very smart. Okay. Now, what we provide, Tootpay has a solution. It's basically a very thin overlay chip. How do I? No face law. Okay, so what we have is basically an overlay chip, and we try to make it as idiot-proof as possible. When a customer comes to the bank officer just have to mention this thing. Can you give me your SIM card? The customer provides the SIM card to the bank officer. There's an epoxy at the bottom. The bank officer takes out the lay and put on top of the SIM and mentions to the customer, the customer, can you insert back your SIM into your phone? That's it. And then the customer switch on, and guess what? Magic happens. There's an icon of the bank on the phone, and from there he can do whatever transaction. The only thing the customer has to do, he has to activate. How's the procedure? It depends on the bank. We enable the banks to do whatever procedure through ATM or internet banking or even a paper. As simple as that. Now, what is so great about our solution? First and foremost, it's user-friendly. A very subjective word, user-friendly. Everybody says user-friendly. For us, user-friendly means it works identically on every phone. From the Nokias and Samsungs and Apples in the world to the cheap $20 phone from China. The only difference is that the look and feel. On iPhone, it looks sexy. On other phone, it might not look sexy. Okay, doesn't matter. And whereas the other procedures, how you interact, etc., it's identical on all the phones. So can you imagine on the call center, when you have a problem, you just have to explain in a brief manner. The other thing, it's device independent, as I mentioned, from the most expensive to the cheap $20 phone. It's telco independent, and now the bank doesn't need to get a permission from the telcos. They can enable the solution whenever and however they want. It's access independent. Now the onus is on the bank to decide which mode of communication do they want to communicate using SMS or USSD, etc. No internet is required, so you can even go back to your legacy phones. Secure transaction. With our solution, basically we encrypt from the phone right down to the bank's data center, because we have our software residing in each and every bank's data center. We don't keep anything with us. So it's encrypted all the way. So even if there's a malware attack or virus attack on the phone, it doesn't interact with our solution. It's virtually independent. It's cost effective marketing talk. Okay. Obviously. Now, business model. Are we running a charity? Obviously no. So how we are making money? First and foremost, we have a one-time implementation fees with the bank, and then we have recurring monthly for the duration of our contracts. All our customers until now, we have on average, we have done a 3 years contract. So there's a subscription fees and the transaction monthly fees with the banks, and there's also the cost of this overlay. Deployment, we have a couple of deployment. We have already running in Malaysia, banks in Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. We have proof of concept in Cambodia. Going forward, it's in Myanmar and Bangladesh. And we have actually got no objection letters from the central banks of each and every country. And an overview, 600,000 registered users out to today, tested on thousands of phones. And most important is, until today, there are millions of transactions with zero fraud. What we are looking is something like $500,000 US going forward, which will be used for our OPEX, marketing, and to create more patents. We already have one. We want to register a couple of more patents.
Thank you, Malvinder.
Welcome.
Judges, over to you.
I'll start with the obvious question. How secure is this overlay? Can someone just copy this?
No. It's basically what we do is that we know that some of this message which is sent through the air can be hijacked, so to speak. So we always have this timer. From again, we sit down with the bank, and the bank decides whether it's for 30 seconds or 1 minute. So if the message is sent over the air and it doesn't arrive within 30 seconds or 15 seconds, then it's rejected. So, and as I mentioned to you, we have our banks, who are the customers, they have done millions of transactions and zero fraud.
How long did it take for you to acquire those 600,000 customers, and how many banks or partners is that distributed across?
Okay. We have started with our first bank, which is based in Malaysia, about 2.5 years ago. So the latest bank is from Indonesia, Danamon, and they have been distributing since the last 6 months. They started, their marketing plan is to start within Jakarta first, and then expand to Java and whole Indonesia. And they have already done, since the last 6 months, about 75,000 customers. And they are not aggressive.
And the bank is your customer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you responsible for deployment and distribution, or they're responsible?
It's their responsibility. So what happens is that we'll sit down and decide what are the services they want to incorporate on their device, and then we provide them in.
So this is really an enterprise.
We provide them in this card format. So, and they will distribute to their branches.
Okay. So this is really an enterprise play, essentially, right? You're selling to large banks and then getting them to do
Yes,
the
sir.
solution.
You're right. Yeah.
And what's the split between feature phone and smartphone?
Sorry?
You said this is available for smartphone.
It's one-time development, and it's useless for any phone. So when the customer comes, he doesn't even need to tell which phone you're using, what's the OS, etc., because it works on all the phones.
Right, I'm just saying, what it ends up being, like, it seems like this would be more useful for feature phone than smartphone.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but...
Honestly, I don't have the figures with me now, but I can get back to you. Because honestly, as far as we are concerned, it works on a phone, whether it's a feature phone, whether it's a smartphone, whether it's a tablet, it works, full stop.
Right,
So we don't know anything.
but to use your own words... I get it.
Sorry.
I'm just saying, like, the folks on the folks on smartphones, I bet you it's not as sexy as you're saying.
Correct.
And so, I don't know whether that has an impact on kind of user adoption or not.
Yeah, but for a poor person, if you look at the other details, as long as he can send his money, he can pay his bills, etc.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, for feature phones, they're already not sexy, so you're selling a not sexy solution for a not sexy customer on a not sexy platform.
No. I'm selling a solution to a phone which is not sexy and doesn't have a solution.
Yeah, I think I like your product.
Sorry.
I'm just saying, I would be pitching this as, this is an ugly product that just makes money. And banks who are desperate to, like, make sure that they don't have fraud are, like, climbing all over themselves to use my product, and I've already got 600,000 customers. Like, I think you took a long time to tell me that you had 600,000 customers, and I would probably want to know that a lot faster.
Sure. Sorry.
Thank you, Belvinda. Thank you, judges.